Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 425. It is the first day of the week, aka the Kamehameha workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, which I will get to in a moment, but first before I get to the main subject matter, you might see a couple of changes here and there, not necessarily in the formatting of the YouTube channel, but in my workouts, because that's for a different episode for a different day, but I'm going to keep the names mostly the same. But anyways, it is currently the new year. It has been the new year now if you're watching this, because I have a backlog that is ridiculous. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, sugar and me. So the main reason I want to discuss this is because I've made 2 episodes before right here about confessions of a former fat fuck, as I've been a former fatty before, so I've been there. I'm still there, but I'm not necessarily there as I once was, which I'll go through my journey whenever I get to a good destination goal, which will be coming sooner rather than later. But in today's episode, I wanted to focus on one aspect of it because it still gets me to this day, and I wanted to talk more about it, which is sugar. As you can probably tell, I like sugar. I love candy. 50% of the shorts videos I have on this channel are about reviewing protein bars. There's literally a bag of protein bars right there. I bet if you look behind this, there's literally an empty vitamin shop bag. I have 2 of them ready to go at all times, okay? So the sugar addiction is real, okay? So that is something. So I wanted to talk about that because I'm trying very hard to mitigate it as much as I possibly can, but it's very hard, as you can imagine, if you are super addicted to it. Also, if you are like ballooned off your tits in weight, you know, it's up there. So I wanted to just talk about that. For some reason, hate that Diet Cola gets, because obviously got to be a slight diet addict, but we'll talk about that too, because I had to transition into that. But that is we'll talk about that later. But for now, I'll say this. Still an addict, love it to death. I would eat nothing but sweets if I could and get away with it. If they had like protein sweets, I'd probably get away with it. Oh wait, they do have protein bars. But still, even then, I would need the occasional savory one. But it's an interesting thing to be addicted to, because then it's like you easily can overdo it relatively quickly. And it's not like something like ice cream. I don't consider ice cream sweet necessarily. I consider it more of its own thing, you know? But I'm thinking of like pies, you know what I mean? I'm talking about cookies, you know, brownies, blondies, you know, that type of stuff. I could eat it all every day, every single day. But unfortunately, that's not how it works, and you probably shouldn't even eat it all every single day. I will talk more about that and a few other things that go along with it when we get to Mother Base.
All right, so started this day off with dips, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Sugar and meat. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because, one, this was a issue with me for, well, literally till this day. I don't know where it started, but obviously it was probably when I was young and I probably had something that was sweetly amazing, and then all of a sudden it just kept going. I also do think that it is common amongst certain ethnicities. I believe that there is a aptitude to be actually addicted to more sugary things than others. I believe that is the case. That's why Mexico is now the #1 country for obesity, if I remember correctly. It's because they have a sweet tooth, which is a terrible thing to have to deal with, which is what I have to deal with. And that's something that I was going to talk about in this episode. Was I just wanted to talk about it in general, but I actually came to the realization like a couple weeks back, maybe like somewhere after this part was recorded, somewhere before this right now, where I realized, my God, I am addicted to sugar and I need to get away from it. Even the things that I like to eat. So for example, like these protein bars that are now part of my life and part of the videos that I make and other products like that. I'm a big Quest guy. I also like diet sodas and things like that. We'll get to diet sodas in a bit. But the thing is, I like these types of products that have like protein and that are sweet, but like, you know, kind of good for you, protein ice creams, all those things. I do enjoy them because they are good substitutes. But I've come to the realization that although they are technically quote unquote better for me in the sense that they aren't calorically as heavy as regular sweets, and they do have some protein, so there are some quote unquote benefits to them. I think I just want to get away from them as I can in its entirety. It's something that it took me a little bit to realize that this isn't something that I should probably keep consuming, especially because, well, we'll talk about the slop epidemic in a different episode. But I just wanted to mention that because I think that now it's going to be something that I want to step away from. I do like these things. I'm going to probably still do the protein bar reviews, but I think that that's going to be the one that I eat in a week versus the one that I ate that day, and that's the main issue, is just getting away from a lot of this stuff, because I've realized that the addiction to sugar is truly, truly a deep-seated felt thing that's happening to me, and I really should probably get away from it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because there are people who can manage it. There are people who will, overdo it. Obviously, I used to be a person who overdo it all the time. But at the same time, I do think that now I should be trying to get away from it in its entirety, including things like diet soda, which is vilified for a lot of different reasons. And I understand why in a certain sense, but also I think that it is a tool that a lot of people should be using for dietary purposes, especially if you are a bigger person or know a bigger person. Just get them to drink diet sodas that could really, really cut out the amount of calories in them. The only reason why I'm willing to step away from diet sodas, honestly, is just the fact that it has citric acid in it, and that causes tooth decay. That's literally it. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't probably be, I'd be okay with it. But watching out for my teeth is actually something that I want to start doing a little bit more. But that's just the kind of issue where that comes up. Diet sodas get vilified so much because there's obviously like fake sweeteners and all this other stuff. And understandably so, that some people don't jive with it, especially in the gut. I don't know about all that, changing the microbiome of the gut and all that other stuff, maybe. But then again, there are people who drink like 5 liters of diet soda in a day and are fine for some weird fucking reason. They're more of a scientific study than anything else. But I do think that it gets vilified a little too much, especially because we don't know exactly what it does. But also at the same time, people literally jumped on Ozempic the moment it came out, and people's stomachs stopped working with that. So, or are literally shitting themselves. But that's a different episode for a different day. I do think that these things like protein bars and all this other stuff and sugar in general is good. Whenever you have them, it's great. It tastes great. But the feeling of them just comes down a lot. Then you're kind of left with that hunger. And I think that that's the main issue I ever had with sweets. I think that's the biggest issue I have with sweets, is that I want a lot of it, and yet it's not filling at all. No matter how much I eat of it, I'm not full. And that's the biggest issue with it. And I think that learning that now, or trying to replace it with something that's protein filled, is only a stopgap in a certain sense, where I'm still getting the sweets. And even if it's not like necessarily real like sweetness, like it's like sugar alcohols or whatever a substitute they have, it's something that I probably should, in theory, break, because inherently it's not necessarily the worst thing of all the addictions you can possibly have. But I feel like I should probably have more control over what I'm eating or consuming and make it something a little bit more whole foods. I think that now that I'm older, I actually have much more of an appreciation of the fruits in my life rather than not that. I used to be like, you could either give me fruit or chocolate. Depending on how it is now, I'd rather have the fruit than the chocolate. My taste buds have changed, so it makes it so that the fruit is equally as sweet as the chocolate. So that's the biggest thing that's changed. And now that I'm realizing that, I just want to go to those types of foods where I'm getting a natural sweetness from them, rather than going to, like, let's say, overly processed chocolates or overly processed sweets, or even just like protein bars and all that. I'd rather just get it from like honey or something like that. And I think that that's a maturing thing. That's a taste buds changing over the years. Things have gotten better, things have gotten worse, but that's kind of a different story for a different day. But I've realized that this is an addiction that I have to get a control of, because if not, I feel like it will just keep rearing its ugly head, especially when I have my guard down, where like I'm like, oh, I could definitely have this slice of cake at this birthday party, which ended up becoming 16 of them. So sounds like an exaggeration,
but genuinely, that's how bad it can get left unattended or with the guard down. And so I'd rather just get rid of it in its entirety rather than just sit there and be like, oh, it's just one slice, because it's never just one slice. It's never just one cookie. That's a pure lie, and it's an idiotic thing for me to say that to myself. So I know that it's just bullshit. So I might as well just get it all out of my life. And then, I'll still do reviews. I'm not going to let that go, but it is something where I will only do it for the reviews. It won't be something where I'll be like consuming it on a daily basis like I am currently.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Sugar and me. So the main reason I want to discuss this is because I've noticed a lot recently where I've been craving a lot of sugars ever since I really started cutting back on the ones that I usually get. I really, really want like chocolates and shit like that. So I've been replacing them as much as I can with other things like diet sodas and shit like that, because of course I'm trying to lose weight. So that's the entire point. But it's just an interesting thing to look at when particularly that is my downfall. It's like that's the thing that will always mess me up. And I think I've narrowed it down to all diets usually die because of my sweet tooth. I just cannot control it. But this year I'm going out of my fucking way. Probably the thumbnail has shown what I'm, the shelf of just goods that I have in my basement ready to go just to curb that sweet tooth, but as well do it in a protein slop-ish way, so then that way I can actually be sustained full with a little bit of a calorie deficit as well. Like if I'm going to go over in calories, it won't be that much over, rather than doing like a gourmet brownie. Of course it's not going to be the same, but at the same time I'd rather do that than go down the fatty McFat down pathway, because I've already been there multiple times. I don't need to be there again. So with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was a random one, but still nonetheless one that I talk about. Just a random thing that I always like to talk about. So please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you are addicted to sugar, please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Also, if you hate Diet Coke or hate diet products, let me know, because why? I'm very curious. And there could be reasons, but I would like to know why. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.